Hello, loves. I am continuing the conversations on perimenopause and menopause. And in this video, I'm going to talk a little about a few things that could be moving through us in this time of transition and transformation. And one of those things may be that you are experiencing darker and reflective moments that you may consider depression. Moments that may feel as though you are incredibly alone, anxious. You may be feeling as though you've lost your identity, or perhaps even becoming invisible, even going insane, actually. These deeper, darker, reflective moments are there for us to feel these feelings. And we live in this culture that celebrates the spring and summer phases, the maiden and the mother times. And it has been seeded deeply within us to maybe view these darker moments as something to hide away from and pretend they're not happening, when in fact these moods really are the call for inward time of reflections. So many things that we don't need to take forward with us into this next phase of life that we may not have been brave enough or had the time or sat in stillness to really just let the anxiety and the feelings move through us. Depression or darker moods, sadness even, is a sign that there are things bubbling just below the surface that are ready to be healed, forgiven, let go of, and loved. Perimenopause is not a disorder, and it does not need to be medicated. In fact, this only just numbs us from feeling these feelings. And if we continue to do this, it could get messy. Trust me, everything that we have been avoiding, had our head in the sands on, or swept under the rug, comes up for us to deal with. And it's been said that anything that we haven't dealt with from our teenage years will also come back for us to clear. The hormone shifts in the perimenopause will take us straight back to that time in our lives, to just before we bled. And it wasn't until recently when I met an osteopath here in Bali that's well and truly in her golden years, was this explained to me. I'd been experiencing deep grief. I was overcome with emotion and tears. Now, I live with premenstrual dysphoric disorder, so emotion does come up a lot for me at particular times in my menstrual cycle, but at the moment I don't have a stable cycle. So I wasn't able to get a read on what was moving through me. This doctor told me that my hormone levels and a woman's hormone levels drop. The progesterone drops to that similar level of what it would have been when you were a teenage girl. And she encouraged me to look at what was going on for me at that time. And you know what? She was right. And I encourage you to do it too. Quite often at this time of menarche, we are just discovering things out about ourselves that we have not really had the rites of passage for. Our mothers or our grandmothers, our aunties didn't have these conversations. So we were, out there on our own and often scared little girls. And this can bring up so much stuff for us. And I feel that society really needs to look at perimenopause and menopause very differently. We need to look at it as a rites of passage. It truly is what it is. And there are 3 phases in this rites of passage. If you know of more, please share them with me. Phase 1 is like a separation phase. It's like we are separating ourselves, we're moving away from our state of being. You know, it's everything about who we were or how we defined ourselves in our community. We're being separated from this belief. And when my situation, I'm asking myself, like, where do I fit in now? What do I have that's relevant to offer? The next phase is the transformation. And just like the story of the caterpillar that is transforming into a butterfly, it goes through massive changes, and that can't be comfortable. We're transforming into a new version of ourselves. We are going to need to learn and love ourselves like so crazy at this time. The third phase is reintegration. It's a re-emergence of ourselves back into our communities as this new reinvented version of who we are as a woman. So yeah, as it gets uncomfortable, just think of the caterpillar. You are about to blossom into, or you are blossoming into, a magnificent version of yourself. And you know, we live as postmenopausal women just as long as what we have lived as menstruating women, even longer for some of us. The other thing I want to share a little bit about that can be uncomfortable, it's what I'm experiencing today, hot flashes. And if you haven't experienced the flashes before, you may panic and you may think that there's something wrong or that you're losing it. And trust me, you're not. It's actually said that women that are more healthy have an increased life force. They have more Shakti. This is the feminine energy. They have more life force moving through them. So therefore, they may have more intensity or even more hot flashes. And these flashes can last between 1 to 5 minutes and often start with an aura. It's a similar feeling to a migraine or a headache coming on. And for me, my vision goes a little as well. And this is a warning sign that something is coming on. It's a little pre-flash. Now, the flash may also come with a rush of adrenaline. And I feel like this is really designed to bring us into our body. It's like straight into my body. And when I can catch it, I can catch what thought or what negative belief I'd been feeling just in that instant. And I know that the heat's come to help me burn that up. So it is something to consider with these flashes, you know. What might your perimenopause journey be showing you? What are your beliefs and attitudes that need to be transformed? Burned up by a flash of heat and transformed in again to that new version of you. And I feel like once we've burnt all of this stuff up that we've had our head in the sand over, that we've not been working on, we may not have known how to, had the time to, even had the necessity to. Once we've burnt all of that up, we can fully embrace our power as a wise woman or a queen. I encourage all of you to talk to the women in your circles about these things. Talk to your sisters, talk to, you know, if you have children, talk to the mothers at the school gate. If you don't and you're in the supermarket and there's someone that will listen, talk to the woman behind you in the queue. just talk about it, because it helps normalize this very human process. And by talking about it also helps your people, your community, help know what's moving through you, and it gives them an opportunity to best support you. And it also helps them know what to expect when it's their turn. So talk about it, normalize it. I also find that having a sense of humor, being slightly mischievous around these things can also help too. I like to suggest that when I am talking about it, I always drop into the conversation that the heightened sensitivity that I may be feeling emotionally at this time also means that I have a heightened sensitivity as far as orgasm goes, and therefore my orgasm right now is amplified. That leads me to what I'm going to share a little more about in my next video. I'm going to talk about libido. As well, I'm going to share a little around the changes in our body and things such as vaginal atrophy and vaginitis and dryness. So for now, my darlings, spend as much time in stillness as you can. Journal. Allow your inner poet to come out when you are woken up by a night sweat at 3 a.m. Get up and use that energy, because it's brilliant. Don't put pressure on yourself. Listen to yourself and love yourself like crazy. I love you so much. I hope this has been helpful. And if you have any questions or you'd like to know anything specific around perimenopause or menopause, please reach out to me. I could talk about this stuff for days. One piece that I will leave you with is that any woman from the age of 45 is in perimenopause. Perimenopause can take as long as it takes, and you won't be menopausal until you have not bled for 1 year. So I have plenty of women sharing with me at the moment all of these experiences, and I'm like, oh, you're in perimenopause? And they're like, no, my doctor said I'm not. Well, you are, and it's epic. And the more we talk about it, the more we normalize it. So from my heart to yours, much love. I'm going to sit in a cold bath.